Okay, so now here we are, and so first of all, you can see that all right, these are boxes, and what did I do to achieve that effect? Well, first I brought in my CSS file, and let me just note something about the directory structure and where this file exists in your project. So here, University of PHP is my project home directory. You can call it the root directory. Okay, and let's see. So now, here's my index.html file. Now, if we want to bring in and include a file which is on the same level as this file. So here we are in index.html, and here's my custom file. So the way we can specify that is we don't have to do anything other than list the file itself, the name. Now, were I to have something in the images folder, or for example, let's say that I created a new directory called CSS files, and let's say I created that directory here, and now were my CSS file, were it to be inside there, and we then viewed our web page, oh, those styles no longer applied, right? And that is because it's not being successfully included. And the reason is because it is looking for it in the wrong place. So what we can do is we can say, all right, well, there's CSS files, so let's specify that directory. Oh, another thing I might want to touch on here is this. I'm using Phpstorm as my editor, my IDE. Again, that is called Phpstorm. You can look on, it's terrific. It's extremely popular and deservingly so. You can do a Google search on that. It's outstanding. You can notice there how it had a kind of autocomplete feature. It automatically knew that I was looking for that folder, and it suggested it to me. I'll discuss more on that later, but I really like this IDE. Okay, so at any rate, you can see how that works. And we have a /, okay, and now we have included it successfully. But I actually don't really want it there. In some projects, sure, I like to do that. I like to have a separate CSS folder, and when I bring in frameworks, I normally always will do that. Okay, but here we don't. It's not that important. Okay. So now, if we go back and refresh our page, just a moment. Ah, that's right. So now we change our reference, and you can see. Okay. Now let's look at how we do those styles. Now let's say, okay, we have this tag here. Now, when we think about these things, if we look at it, it's just right here is where the tag, just imagine that you are expanding the size of, this is the way I think of it. We all have to have some way of conceptualizing it. I just imagine that there is something, now right here, there's nothing there, right? Okay. But it still has a width. it still has a height. And well, I don't know if that's that complex. All right, let's get into how we do these things. All right, so with a CSS file, with CSS, if I want to target one of those tags that has an ID, remember ID equals, then we have header, okay? Then in my CSS file, I need to take a, I guess you can call it a hashtag or a number sign, either, both of the, okay, I know there's some non-native English speakers, but we can call it either of those. Originally it was called a number sign. Okay, and then the name, no space here, no space. And then we have some brackets, and I have a width. This is 100%, that's 100% of the screen width. Now, to target a tag that is a class, here we have class is product box. We just use a dot, a period, and the name. Okay, so here we have the width, 100 pixels, height, 60 pixels. Now the border. Okay, there are 3 elements. 1, 2, 3. The first one, we have 2 pixels. It's solid, right? We could change this to dashed if we wanted. Okay. Now you can, all right. If we wanted to do that, we could do that. Okay, now it's dashed. But I think solid's better. Okay, and here we have dark slate gray. Now, again, I rather like this IDE. Let's use dark cyan now, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, the margin. Now this margin, this margin applies across the board. If you only, with most of these CSS properties, you have a number of different ways of setting them. All right. Now, this, if I just specify margin and then 5 pixels, it naturally is going to put 5 pixels at the top, at the left, at the right, and at the bottom. Okay, all around. Now, what if I change that to, now there's something we can do. We can override these things. We can override, we can say margin left 100 pixels. Okay. And you can see it jumped over. Okay, right? And the same applies. You can use margin right, margin top, margin bottom, etc. And let's see here. Okay. All right. Okay, that should do it for that. Okay, on to the next video.